Today we are going to see what is a rule and what is a rule set version. In Pega platform, everything is a rule, a property, a flow action, flow, everything is a rule. There are different rule types. Property is one rule type, data transform is another rule type, activity is another rule type. These different rule types are for different purposes. Each rule is an instance of that rule type. So if you want, say this is a property, and if you want to know the PJDNS key of this property, actually each record, each rule in Pega platform is identified by the unique PJDNS key. You can press Shift plus F8, that is the shortcut, or you can go to Actions, View XML, and Control F PJDNS key. So this is your PJDNS key, rule obj property. So property is an instance of class rule obj property. So property rule is nothing but a row in this rule obj property. So this is the class name in which the property is defined. This is class name. This is the timestamp. Say for example, same rule can be present in multiple rule sets and multiple rule set versions also, right? Then how we will identify which property to pick? That's why there is a timestamp to make it as a unique key. So if you see here, any rule form if you open, be it property or any data transform in Pega platform, there are three things. One is the label, class, ID and rule set. So if you see, this is the label. Whatever you want, you can write in the label. Press OK. You can save it also. So this is the label. Okay, label part. So this is editable. Even after you create the property, you can edit it. This is the class in which this rule belongs to. You can create rules in your service case class, for example, service request class here, or you can also create in the higher layers to promote reusability. Say if you want to use this data transform across multiple service cases, then you can create this rule in the my2 dash mytown 311 dash work layer, that is org dash app name dash work, that is work pool or class group layer, so that you can use in service case 1 dash service case 2, multiple cases you can use that. Say if you want to use across applications or across implementation and framework, then you can push this rule higher in the class hierarchy. Maybe you can create in workdash as well, so that you can use in all framework class structures, all implementation application class structures. Next, this is the ID. So this is a unique identifier by which a rule will be identified uniquely. So only label you can change after creating the rule. Once a rule is created, you cannot change the class, you cannot change the identifier, you cannot change the rule set it belongs to. You only have to delete it and again create it in some other where do you want. So this is the rule set. So rule set contains two things, rule set name and rule set version. If you see this mytown 311 is the rule set name. So basically rule set is nothing but a container. Again in this rule set also there is only ID, there is no class, there is a label, label means you can change to whatever value you want. So rule set is a container to hold rules. Just like bucket is a container to store water, rule set is a container to hold rules. So if you see there are different versions that you can give 01, 01, 01, 01, 01, 03 like that. So basically this first two digits corresponds to major version, this corresponds to minor version, last two digits correspond to patch version. So whenever you are doing some minor enhancements, bug fixes, minor code changes, you do in a new patch version. When you are doing some enhancement request, sufficient amount of code change is there, or sufficient amount of feature addition is there, then you go for a increase in the minor version. So after many sprints, generally we go for a minor version. So generally once in a year or twice in a year, we go for a change in the minor version. For example, if you see Pega platform application. So Pega platform, every 6 months to 10 months, they will release one new version. Like current version is 8.7. They will release 8.8, 8.9. Like that they keep on releasing new versions. So if you see Pega rules, Pega application, see Pega process commander, when they are releasing Pega 8.7, they will have Pega 8.7. Initially, they have Pega 8.1. Now, after some months, they released Pega 8.2. So they created 8.02. After some months, they released Pega 8.3. That is 8.03, 8.4, 8.5, like that. So next, if they are releasing Pega 8.8, then they will create one more. That will be called as Pega 080801. Okay. This is the way you follow. So this is for minor release. If major change is there in your application, then you have to go for change in the major version as well. That is, instead of 08, 09 will come. So rule resolution considers only patch version and minor version. It will not consider the major version. Detailed discussion regarding rule resolution will be made in a separate video. So if you see, this is your application rule, wherein you can mention your rule sets. So this is the rule set name, this is the version. So rule set contains two things, rule set name and version. When you are creating a new rule, like as you can see, this is the rule type. For example, this is a flow rule type. Here you have to select your context. This is the whatever in here you will have a drop down kind of thing. Whatever you have on the topmost, that will be nothing but the implementation layer or the endmost application layer on which you are building. Below that are the framework layers. Bottommost is the Plaga platform. It means that HR apps is your implementation application built on HR framework application. This HR framework itself is built on Cosmos app, and again Cosmos application is built on Pega platform app. So you might ask me, what is this apps? As you can see here, if you go to your application definition, this is the application I'm talking about. So my application name is MyTown 311, built on top of two applications. So it is comes under multiple built on application. So our application is built on these two applications. So whatever rules or activities or properties are present in these two applications, that we can use in our application as well. If you open any of this application, so Theme Cosmos is again built on Pega rules, Pega 8 platform. Likewise, CE base is built on top of Pega rules as well itself. So it is a multiple built on application. So if you don't want others to make changes to the rule set stack, then you can add a password like this. In the security, you can select required password to update application. So if you see now, if I want to delete this and save, I can't save. It will ask for password. For example, MyTown 311 application, it doesn't have any password because in the security, this checkbox is not checked, required password to update. So now if I make any changes and save, still it will accept it because it is not password protected. This application rule belongs to only a rule set which you can change. This is called as non-versioned rule. So it has only rule set and no version. As no version is there, there is no check-in and check-out concept. Check-in and check-out concept will be there for the rules which are versioned. So if you open your operator ID record as well, it is a non-versioned rule. Non-versioned rule doesn't have any check-in check-out concept. Non-versioned rule means only rule will be present, only rule set, no version. Non-version rules are data instances. So operator ID is also data instance because it belongs to the class data admin operator ID. Data dash means it is a data instance. So you can delete it, only save it, no check-in or check-out. Likewise for the application rule, but you want to prevent unnecessarily changes. Maybe new members in the team might add some other rule sets. If you don't want to that to happen, you can password protect it. So when you are creating a rule, this is the label, this is the identifier, this is the app context, this is the class in which you want your rule to be created. This is the rule set in which you want your rule to be created. So if you see here, you create this rule, this is the class, label, ID, rule set version, As version is there, you can check in and check out. So if you see the security tab, you can select the validation modes as well. Application validation or rule set validation. Detailed discussion about regarding this will be done in a separate video. So if you see sometimes some version rules also we cannot check in and check out. That is because for that rule set maybe use checkout is not checked. If you select use checkout option, then only we can use check in and check out. For example, now this property is there. Of course, it is in a locked version. We will try to open some property in this rule set version. For example, a 010101 because it is unlocked. But there are no version rules here. Okay, we will see later. Thank you.